So this is the second of two slideshows about the elements and principles of design. And make sure that your sound is on. And of course, if you can already hear this, good job. So the first principle of composition we're going to talk about is the idea of unity. The principles of composition really, they're about how all of the elements of composition fit together. So remember, the elements are like the words in the sentence, and principles of composition are like the grammar of the sentence, how things are arranged in your composition. So unity is it's this idea that you're pulling together the whole image through similarity. So in this case, a strategy for unity to have the photograph feel like it holds together is a kind of repeating lines, right? It's kind of organized, it's not cluttered. Like, how different would this photograph look if there were bits of tree in the background or something like that, right? Here's another example of unity through color. So this is a photograph by Stephen Shore, who traveled across the US in the 70s and had his first show of color photography at the Museum of Modern Art. He photographed 8x10 format color negatives. How many colors are in this image? You know, if you look, there's not very many, right? There's kind of a turquoise color in her bathing suit, and the water in the background, and the chair, and a kind of gold color of her skin, and some of the furniture, and a little bit of a green color, right? But the whole image is kind of unified because it only really has 3 colors. It has a very similar color scheme. And then variety is kind of the counterpoint to unity, right? It's about diversity or difference within the photograph, like how many different things are happening there. You will get a chance to really look at this photograph and pick out the different elements that make this photograph have variety. Repetition. So this is a group of photographs by Bernd and Hilla Becker, who photographed old European structures, vernacular architecture across Europe, and also came to New York and other places in the US to photograph water towers. But the idea of repetition is that you're seeing the same thing over and over again. While you're seeing a group of 15 photographs here, even within each photograph, there's a kind of repetition, right? The repetition of the lines of wood, the shapes that the lines of wood are making on the side of the buildings. So that's one example of repetition. And of course, repetition also leads to pattern. Another concept I'd like to introduce you to is rhythm. And I think you already know what rhythm means, right? If you think of music, in music, there's a kind of rhythm, whether it be classical or punk rock, right? There's how the music moves through time. And in visual art, rhythm really talks about how your eye moves through the image. This image by Margaret Bourke-White, I think your eye kind of follows a pattern as it goes across. And sometimes the rhythm is affected by repetition or repeated elements, shapes, and forms. Like in this case, we have very similar leaves, but slightly different across the frame. We have similar caterpillars, but in different positions across the frame. So rhythm is kind of a concept of how things are patterned out in a composition. The next concept we're going to talk about is balance. And at its most basic, it says the equilibrium of formal elements in a work of art, but at its most basic, it's really, does it feel balanced from right to left? It doesn't necessarily have to be symmetrical. It could also be asymmetrical. But let's look at some examples. This is a photograph by Albert Rangerpatch, he published a book called The World is Beautiful, Die Welt ist schön, early in the 20th century. And it consisted of a lot of close-ups of plants and buttons and other wonderful things. So my question to you is, does this photograph seem balanced from right to left? Does it seem to pull down on one side or another side? This photograph also exhibits symmetry. You could almost fold it in half from right to left, right? And also radial symmetry. I don't know if you ever had a paint program when you were a kid on your computer, but if you click the symmetry option and you started drawing, it would start to draw other dots in a kind of radial way. So this is exhibiting two kinds of symmetry as well. This is a photograph by Dawood Bay, the photographer who's alive today. He came and visited Houston last year and had some work at the Museum of Fine Arts in Houston. Is this photograph balanced? Does it feel balanced from right to left? I love his eye because things feel balanced and also not balanced at the same time. What I think is so interesting in this photograph is on the right, there is kind of a flat plane of the glass, and on the left, the store door and interior, the shop interior, are receding behind her head. And some of the lines actually lead towards her face. You can see that her hip, that line on the left leads towards her face. It's kind of just a wonderful photograph. This is another photograph by Dawood Bay. So Dawood Bay was very interested in photographers of the Harlem Renaissance, and I think he really patterned himself after their work. Does this photograph look balanced to you? Or, more importantly, is this taken on a hill, or was the street relatively horizontal? And if this was not taken on a hill, why did Dawood Bay twist his camera frame to make it look like it's a slope? What was he trying to balance? I mean, I would argue that he was trying to balance these two ladies to make the frame feel balanced. Okay, so we're going to go on to the next principle of composition, which is very photography, very, very photography. So what's the thing that you look at the most in this photograph? The thing that draws your eye. And some people will say the eye of the woman in the back, and some people say the mouth, the way that the woman in the front and the woman in the back, their faces almost blend together. So that depends on you, but generally the focal point is the place that your eye is drawn to. This is a photograph, actually it's a self-portrait of Latoya Ruby Frazier herself with her mother. She is a contemporary photographer, and they grew up in the Rust Belt, so she was photographing the aftermath of the loss of factories and the kind of illnesses that her family had. She now teaches in Chicago. A focal point, I wouldn't necessarily confuse that with focus, even though the eye is in focus and it is the focal point, but it's really the thing that you look at the most important thing. My other thought about this is, what's the thing that you notice last in this photograph? What's an area of de-emphasis? Something that you don't see. I will leave that up to you, but I also wanted to point out the amazing arrangement in this photograph, both with the juxtaposition of the two faces from the side and from the back, but also notice that there are patterns in this photograph. the composition is kind of like it's almost like a diagonal lines are going through the upper left to the lower right, and vice versa. The mother is wearing a patterned shirt. There's a patterned curtain in the background on the upper right, and then you see the white of Latoya Ruby Fraser's shirt and then the white of the wall, right? It's a really carefully composed photograph. And the last principle of composition we're going to talk about is scale. And one definition is the size of an object in relation to things around it. And it's related to proportion, the size relationship of parts belonging to one object or figure. But let me show you an image because I think that's the best way to communicate this. So this is a photograph by William Eggleston, who photographed color in the South. Farther east than here. I think he was based in Tennessee or Alabama. And he used a really special process called dye transfer. So the colors in his photographs are really rich. But in any case, like, how big does this tricycle look in comparison to that house in the background, or particularly the car that is kind of framed by the bicycle? Right? The tricycle looks huge in comparison. So in terms of scale, the tricycle is much bigger visually in the picture, even though we know the tricycle is actually smaller than the car because we've probably encountered a tricycle in a car before. This is a great example of forced perspective. Eggleston probably put his camera on the ground and he shot. This is a deep depth of field, folks, right? So everything is in focus from front to back. And so that's how he's able to trick our eye into thinking that this tricycle is monumental. In terms of proportion, look at the size of the back wheels to the front wheel. Are the back wheels the same size as the front wheel? How wide is the seat compared to a wheel or the handlebar? So that's where, so proportion is really comparing how big something is to itself. It's also how we draw. Like if you're drawing something, proportion is very important, especially when you're drawing the figure, the human figure, trying to make sure that each piece is the right size in relation to the rest of it. And that's the end of the principles of composition slideshow. So I will just let you know that some of those text definitions came from the Houston Community College Art Department, where I used to teach. They had a wonderful handout sheet that had these definitions on them.